All right, everybody, welcome to the K&M 495 Sportscast. As always, this is Mike, and on the count of three, I want everybody to say, fuck Kyle Ronick. 1, 2, 3. What's up, Kyle? How you doing,
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, good. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of McGregor videos lately.
Good, right? I mean, speaking of knockouts, wow, did the Nationals kick some ass today against Milwaukee. 15 runs.
15 runs, back to back to back to back in the third.
That's
4 straight
insane.
home runs.
Insane. Absolutely insane. They scored 7 runs in the third inning.
Jesus
7.
Christ. They're just, when their offense is going, it is unreal. It was batting practice for them.
Yeah.
What is it? Harper extended his hitting streak to 19 games.
Yeah, between 2 innings, the third and the fourth inning, Max Scherzer got on base 3 times and did not record an out.
Right. Max Scherzer is the man. Let me pull this up real quick. I got an update about it.
He is an awesome batter, too, not only a pitcher. I mean, he had 9 strikeouts today. And so he dominated.
Yeah,
he only allowed up 1 run.
Those 9 strikeouts, that means Max Scherzer becomes the only active pitcher with 6 straight seasons of more than 200 strikeouts.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
good for Mad Max, man.
The argument for best pitcher in the league right now can be made.
You really can. I mean, the way he's been playing this year has been unbelievable. I mean, obviously
Every year.
Obviously, Clayton Kershaw is amazing, and he is what he is. But Max Scherzer, just the way he's been playing this year, it's been so consistent. Constantly over 10 strikeouts a game.
Yep.
He's just playing ignorant.
He is. He's playing ignorant. You have to. I saw a stat that the Nationals are 12-0 when William Dafoe bats in the second spot in the lineup.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I like Dafoe. Dafoe, I mean, he's definitely good to have.
Yes.
Obviously. I mean,
if you have an injury, it does. If your backup's coming in and you have that kind of record when you have your backup in,
right?
It's not a bad thing. That's a great thing.
Oh yeah, that's fucking awesome. Also, Nationals called up one of their top prospects, their top pitching prospect, Eric Fetty. He's going to start in place of Steven Strasburg. A lot of people are excited about what Fetty can do.
It should be either on Saturday or Sunday, I believe.
One of those. Yep.
Yeah.
Fetty's fantastic.
Yes.
Fetty's amazing, and we've been. That's one of the reasons why we're okay with letting go of Giolito and some of those guys because Fetty's been tearing it up.
Yeah, it's just too bad about Strauss. They were trying to say it wasn't that big of an issue, but we saw with Bryce last year that they're very mysterious with the way that they handle injuries.
They don't want to, they don't want to lead on opposing teams and let them know what's really going on.
Exactly. I mean, but they're not. What's the benefit to them? You letting your fans know the truth? Like, what do we care? I don't care whether you tell me the truth or not. Just if he's out for the season, tell me. But I mean, if it's serious, let me know. But don't sit here and be like, oh, well, he might be back in a week or so.
That's so annoying.
Yeah,
it's not football. You're not Bill Belichick.
Yeah, right.
Always saying Tom Brady's hurt. Tom Brady's been on every injury list.
Speaking of football, today, right now. The second of the 2-a-day practices is going down right now as we speak.
So happy football is
Redskins
back.
football. Woo!
There it is. I saw you posted that on Facebook.
Yeah.
I read it in your voice. I was
Did you?
Redskins football. Woo! Hell yeah. Dude, I am so fucking happy.
I'm really hyped up. It's too bad Jordan Reed was a surprise there.
Right.
Got added to the
said
pup
because
list.
of his big toe.
Yes.
He has an injury to his big toe. But there's some other players that were on the pup list, like D'Angelo Hall, and they're still on the sidelines. Jordan Reed wasn't on the sidelines.
Yeah. Well, there's conspiracy theories that maybe Jordan Reed was overweight and failed his physical.
Didn't pass conditioning.
They say that sometimes, a lot of the times, that's what it means when a player is surprisingly on the pup list.
And especially because he hasn't been on the sidelines, kind of like they're hiding him or something of the sort. So
yeah, but Jay Gruden had a midday press conference before the second practice about an hour or so ago, and he had said that Jordan Reed's toe was bothering him a couple weeks before training camp about 2 weeks ago started up. So they're just being cautious. They're saying it could be any day.
He's arguably their best player. I mean, he's one of the most important players on the team.
Jay said in March that the entire offense runs through Jordan.
Right, exactly. He's one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And but I could also see him being a little bit overweight. Like mean, we were talking about outside. He doesn't have this body that's like a freak. Like Vernon Davis is a freak. Vernon Davis is cut, like 0% fat, jacked. But you look at Jordan Reed, he's small for a tight end. He's only like 6'3", 6'2", 6'3". He's like 230, 240, but he's just it's not like he's skinny. He's quick, but he doesn't have much muscle definition. You know, like his arms are, I don't know. So I could easily see him being overweight. Plus, he worked out in Florida on his own. He didn't work out with the team.
Yeah, he skipped OTAs and did his own workout with his own people in Florida. But I mean, I have to ask the question, what would you rather have? Would you rather him have a possible toe injury, which Jay Gruden has said he doesn't think it's a big of a concern. They're just being cautious. But would you rather it be an injury, a toe injury that they're cautious about that could lead on to other things later on down the road, Or would you rather him be overweight?
It really depends, because Jordan Reed has such a big injury history. Like,
yeah.
And plus, toe injuries like that, Santana Moss talked about it last night. He said those things nag. Like,
they
those
do.
Go
Yeah.
on. But at the same time, so I mean, I kind of rather him just be overweight because he can get in shape pretty quick, especially, you know, with the way football is. They expect him to be back for preseason anyway. But also, that's a bad sign. That's just like, come on, dude. Like, what the fuck are you doing? But players who are established do that sometimes.
It's a really bad sign, given the fact that he just got a mega deal.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, like, that it gives you a bad taste in your mouth, because if you're gonna pay a guy a buttload of money, you'd want him to come in with the same mindset that like Kirk Cousins had.
Right.
Where Kirk Cousins said last offseason when he had the franchise tag for $20 million. He came in and said every single practice he treated like it was a game. Yeah. And he said it was too taxing on his body. But that's like the kind of mindset you want from a guy that you give big money to.
Right. Especially D'Angelo Hall is kind of a different breed. D'Angelo Hall, for as much shit as people have given him, D'Angelo Hall is kind of like a rare player in that he goes all out. He's big in the locker room. He's talented as hell, even though his talent's fallen off a little bit. He wants to be out there with his players. Even though the Redskins haven't been that good the entire time he's been here, he's always been all about the Redskins.
Right.
So you got to love D'Angelo Hall for that. And hopefully Jordan Reed, I mean, hopefully he comes back fine. Hopefully, if this is really an injury, I hope that this shit just doesn't last forever. I hope that he just needs a little bit of rest.
Well, we hope it's quick, because Vernon Davis also has a sort of hamstring injury as well.
And that's we probably have the best tight end group in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, with those, really, we have so many after them, and then Niles Paul is the third one, but then we have a few players who can make it, like Derek Carrier. We have Jeremy Sprinkle, all these players. And I know Niles Paul kind of plays like a hybrid of fullback and tight end, kind of like an H-back, but like, we have so much talent there, but without Jordan Reed and possibly Vernon Davis, like, that's huge. So you don't want that to happen.
Well, because of both, the Redskins, they just signed today is E.J. Bibbs, a tight end. I don't know much about him. I can't give you all of his stats and everything now, but I'm sure he's an undrafted free agent or something along the lines of that. Yeah. But they just needed a body in there.
Right.
And so they signed him today. I'm sure he's going to be there on the practice field tomorrow.
Yeah. I was just, Pro Football Focus put something out about Jordan Reed the other day. Listen to this. Jordan Reed has only 11 dropped passes on 268 catchable passes in his entire career.
Wow.
Only 11 drops. They said he is the highest rated tight end in drop rate. He has a 1.49 drop rate.
Des Bryant had more drops on that jug machine last offseason than Jordan Reed has in his whole career.
I know. That's sad. That's pathetic.
That guy has gloves, stickums on his gloves.
It's because Des Bryant probably dropped the ball because his hands were swollen from beating the shit out of his mom. So that's probably got a few boxer breaks on there.
I can't stand Des Bryant.
Neither can I. I can't stand people who... Cowboys fans swear that Des Bryant is a top 5 receiver in the NFL. And it's just like, dude, no, he was for a few years. He was. And he's still very good, and he's very naturally talented, but he's just not... He's not up there with Julio Jones and Odell and Antonio Brown. And I mean, there's younger guys who are coming up who are just better than him. Like, they just are. And I will give Dez this. He did kind of stop with the diva-ness, and he's kind of been more of a team player. But his he hasn't really been anything special over the last few years.
Like, maybe Dez sat back and looked at Greg Hardy making an ass of himself on the sideline. Was like, maybe that's not a good look. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Not for me. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Exactly.
Maybe I shouldn't.
But with training camp, what is something that you yourself are looking forward to the most?
Well, real quick, Jordan Reed did try to come out onto the training camp today. He tried to. Jay Gruden sent him back to the locker room. He doesn't look fat there.
No, he doesn't.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, but what was it?
What is the biggest thing you're looking for in this training camp?
I am looking forward to some battles.
Yes.
I am looking forward to some of these camp battles.
Well, what would the biggest question mark you have about this training camp, including battles?
The biggest question mark, obviously, I think should be our D-line. Just because you don't know what you have so far. I mean, you definitely did try to make improvements, and you should have. Obviously with Jonathan Allen and Stacey McGee and Terrell McClain, but you don't know what these guys are going to do.
Yeah.
Terrell McClain's been so. He really hasn't done that well in his career up until last year, the last couple of years. Jonathan Allen's a rookie, and then Stacey McGee's always been a solid player, but he's never been anything special. He's always been kind of like a rotational good player. So that'll be interesting. And watching how our new safeties play.
Yes.
Seeing how Sua Cravens adjusts to strong safety, and seeing how DJ Swearinger really adjusts to being a full-time free safety.
Yeah.
That'll be very interesting.
Very interesting. The one thing I want is kind of like a general statement to make, but I want to see and hear from the reporters and the media and the fans that are at the training camp. I want to see intense team-on-team scrimmages. I want to see the number one defense go against the number one offense, and I want it to be intense. I don't want I don't want the defense dominating the offense.
Right.
I don't want the offense dominating the defense.
That's never a good sign.
I want to have the thick cloud of intensity on that field where every yard earned is very difficult, because if that just makes your team better as a whole.
Right.
It just gets you so ready. And that's what the Redskins have missed for years and years, was intensity on both sides of the ball in these training camps.
Yeah. You definitely like to see competition amongst the offense and the defense. Over the last few years, it's been weird. Like, the offense has started out very slow in our training camps, and but the offense, I know that we lost Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson, but I'm not worried about our offense too much. Right. I think our offense should. I hope so. But I'm really excited to see what that defense can do, man. And it goes hand in hand with what you're saying. They should be putting up a better fight.
Right.
They should be. Hopefully, this training camp, I want to see some fucking brawls.
I really want to see that running game be able to make big yardage in this training camp, but for the defense to put up, like, for the offense to actually earn it, not for it to be easy for them to get the yardage. I want the defense to put up a really big fight. Right. I want them to have to earn it, because if it's easy for the running game, we're not going to have a running game this year.
Oh, exactly.
You have to prep for it now. If you don't have it now, you're not going to have it for the beginning of the year.
And that's the problem. And the running game on both sides of the ball, we've always struggled.
Yes.
I mean, we just have over the last few years. And I know that, we've gotten into it a little bit. Our yards per carry wasn't terrible, but like you said last week, man, in the red zone, we need to fucking step up, man. Yeah. We have and that's where I think somebody like Pirine should be a big improvement. Hopefully, he's a rookie, that's asking a lot, but he's the type of guy who could just be a huge answer in those in that goal line situations and inside the red zone. And I just want to see him just fucking work it up the middle.
And another thing that could really benefit the Redskins in the red zone is we've never had this since I've watched him, since I was born. Having a big receiver for the red zone.
And we have multiple big receivers.
And Terrell
now.
Pryor with Jordan Reed there as well, and with Josh Doxson.
And don't forget Brian Quick, even though he could be like a fourth or fifth receiver, he's 6'3", 6'4".
Right, and then you have Jamison Crowder just sneaking around there. Receiver. Yeah, so this could be a very good red zone team.
Right.
It's just depending on how they want to do it first. They want to use Pryor and the fades to be able to space out the defense, so they're worried about it, and then run the ball through, or they're going to run the ball first, try to be effective with that, and then run the fade off of that.
See, I think what we'll end up doing is I think that we're going to end up passing more to set up the run, just because Jay Gruden's he's so heavy on the passing. But
he comes from an arena league.
Right. Yeah, I know. And he was a quarterback himself.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're right. Since I've been a fan of this team, we've always had like Lavernius Coles and Santana Mosses and then Deshaun Jacksons and these people. So really, the last time that we tried to get big receivers was like when we drafted Malcolm Kelly and Devin Thomas.
When they never played a game.
Sucked. Yeah. And that was depressing. But now we've got these big boys out there, man. And you saw last year, Jay Gruden, when Josh Doxson played in that one game, he played 2 games, but against the Cowboys, he played a lot more. They tried like 2 or 3 fades to him, and none of them connected. But you could see he wants those big receivers so they can do the fade. And Kirk Cousins trusts his receivers. So I think the fades with Terrell Pryor and Josh Doxson are going to be huge in the red zone for us this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Terrell Pryor, I think, is going to be a massive, massive improvement for us.
Just following him on Instagram and stuff, that motherfucker puts in some hard-ass work.
The only thing that scares me about that is Junior Gillette did the same thing. I was following Junior when he did this, and Junior got hurt from it because he worked so hard, because he was so excited to play for the Redskins.
Right, and nothing against Junior. Terrell Pryor, I do think, is a little bit more of a freak, just naturally. He's always been like that.
That is very true.
You're right, overworking like that, man. And that's so sad that Junior Gillette, the good thing is about this year for Junior Gillette is he doesn't have another Achilles to tear.
Right.
So hopefully, knock on wood, he'll be good.
Yeah, Ian Rappaport, obviously,
so pumped to see him.
We've only had half of a day of practice up to this date. But Ian Rappaport came out and said that Junior Gillette has impressed.
Good. He was known when he was with the Saints having one of the fastest get-offs in the NFL.
Yeah.
Just as soon as that ball snapped, he's just beating people. And the guy's missed 2 years. We can't expect him to be the player that he was with the Saints, where he's getting 11 sacks, 10 sacks. But if he can do 3/4 of that, having him up there with Kerrigan, who is good for anywhere from 9 to 12 sacks, and then Preston Smith should be improved. This is a huge year for Preston Smith. Yes. And then getting Trent Murphy back, who surprised many people last year after 4 games. And then Ryan Anderson. We could have a very, very talented. We're not going to have anybody who's going to put up 20 sacks, but we're going to have the Broncos and Raiders, but we could have a very effective pass rush from all angles.
The one thing with Preston Smith that I don't like is I don't want Preston Smith. I was talking with John Keim about this, the ESPN reporter for the Redskins. I was tweeting him and said, I don't want Preston on the outside on every snap, playing most of the game. Preston, watching his tape back when he was at college, he was better.
A full-time defensive end there.
He was better at blitzing through the guard, through the A gap and the B gap there.
Exactly.
And so if you had that hybrid defense, I'd rather him be on third downs.
I'd rather see him go against guards than tackles.
Coming in the inside. He's so much better on the inside.
He's very powerful, and he has very good hand usage, but he doesn't really have the speed to get around the edge. You know, like he's not as agile as most.
His one issue.
He's a bigger defense. He's 270. I mean, he's a bigger.
His one issue is that his length. He has really long arms.
Great length. Apparently, he knocks down a lot of passes.
The thing that kills him is that he doesn't have the speed, right? But his length does not beat tackles because tackles
are long too.
All have long arms,
Right.
so he just kind of null there. But if you put him on guards and centers, those guys don't have as long arms.
That's where I think that having somebody like Ryan Anderson or Junior Collette could be huge. Because put one of those guys on the outside across from Kerrigan, have Preston Smith come in there and rush from the inside. That could be he'll eat up guards.
That hybrid defense on third and longs and stuff like that would really immensely help this defense.
I know for so long our defense has been so bad, but I'm genuinely more excited about our defense than I have been in a very long time.
Yes. And then having three middle linebackers, yes, everyone can criticize Will Compton all you want. The guy is just he's a born leader. Right. Kirk Cousins said it. He said it 2 weeks ago when he signed the contract. He said, Will Compton is the best leader I've ever played with. I wouldn't want anyone else on my team.
Everybody loves Compton. Yeah. Everybody does. You see what Compton tweeted at Jonathan Allen?
No.
He tweeted out him, I forget Jonathan Allen's fiance name. I think it's like Vanessa or something. He said, yesterday, the day before training camp, he said, Vanessa's not your fiance anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Training camp is your fiance.
Training camp is your fiance.
I'm so pumped to see Jonathan Allen, man. Yep. That was literally, we talked about it for months. That was the fucking perfect thing that could happen for us. And this guy is a freak. I mean, Charlie Casserly and Trevor Maddox, whatever the fuck you say his name, they all broke down his film. They're both extremely high on him. Charlie Casserly was saying that he could see a little bit of Aaron Donald in him. Obviously, that's a lot. That's a big thing. But they're similar sizes, similar players. I mean, granted, Allen's going to be playing outside in a 3-4 defensive end. But, I mean, he could, if he was playing defensive tackle, he's very similar to... Right. He could be. I mean, he has the same physical features, and he's produced. Yeah, this guy, no matter what he does, he didn't have the best combine, but he fucking put up numbers every year at Alabama.
Jay had said today in his presser that that Jonathan Allen was going to be working mostly with the second and third units.
Right.
But he said that everything that they've seen so far has been what they thought.
Good. Yes.
So that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
Very good. That means that he's the blue chip player that they thought they got when they drafted him.
Exactly. And that's what we need on that defensive line.
When they're not talking about them, that means something is going right. A lot of times,
during this time of year, like that was the same thing with Doxson.
Yeah.
We think that Doxson's going to have a huge year. Yep. I do. I mean, we were talking about it, that nobody's talking about him.
Yeah, he's being kept quiet. Yeah. Everyone's
Jay
talking
Gruden
about Pryor.
Do his thing. I'm excited for some of these battles, man. I'm really excited. Cornerback. I think that could be huge. Mm-hmm. If Kendall Fuller keeps playing the way that he's been playing.
Fabian Moreau didn't come out in the pup list?
Yep,
that is a huge surprise.
4 months after surgery?
That is a steal with the third-round pick.
And that dude is so talented.
He is.
He's such a freak.
And so if he plays well like we think he should, like he can,
right.
I mean, you can almost guarantee Bashaud Breeland's gone.
Yeah, after this year. Yeah. And that's another thing that could benefit our defense. Bashaud Breeland's in a contract here. He has to ball out. Yeah. He has to. So that's just going to raise the play of it should, at least for Kendall Fuller and Fabian Moreau, once Moreau comes back. And that could be fucking huge.
Well, Kendall Fuller being under Torian Gray right now is helping him a lot, being more comfortable with the system. Yeah, exactly. And with Greg Minuski, I still don't trust Greg Minuski as far as I can throw him.
Neither do I.
He hasn't had good
Doesn't have a track
systems.
record.
Yeah. But, I mean, if he runs a hybrid, I mean, if you can make something here, we can go a long way.
Exactly.
But I still think that we're going 8-8. I don't think that we're going to make the playoffs. I think the schedule is just too difficult. I mean, but we never know. Training camp is a month long. A lot of things can happen. Guys get injured in the schedule. You don't know your real opponent until a week before you play them.
Right. Exactly. And that's huge. I mean, this time of year, and luckily so far, we haven't been hit with anything. I mean, I'm knocking on wood. I don't want to jinx this, but you saw like Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco hurt his back. He's out for a little bit. And
they're looking to pick up. Colin Kaepernick.
Are they really? I mean, hey, he played for his brother. Played for Harbaugh.
Exactly. And that's why I said it from the jump. I said it when we talked about Colin 2 or 3 weeks ago. I do not think that he will be not on a roster by week 1. He will be on a roster by week 1.
He should be.
I mean,
he's still a talented player.
You can't even pray for that kind of a miracle for Colin, for having Joe Flacco getting injured like that, and them saying, hey, we need a quarterback for the preseason and a backup.
Case scenario.
Come on down, dude.
You know who's not going to make a roster? RG3.
RG3. How crappy is that, dude? He goes and he works out with the Chargers. The day after he leaves to work out with the Chargers, they trade for Cordell Jones.
Yep. I know. He must have been that bad. He must have been that bad where they saw him and they're just like, no.
Yeah, and Pep Hamilton, who was grooming him over the summer down in Florida, said that the ball's really flying off of his hands and everything. Same thing that along the lines that Hugh Jackson said last year when he saw RG3 throwing the ball, and he said the earth was moving beneath my feet.
In shorts, RG3 can fucking whip that pigskin with the best of them.
Yep.
Doesn't know how to read a defense.
Nope.
Doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, he's not a natural leader. And so for the sit in a huddle and be able to tell guys what to do, what the play's running. I mean, there were times where when RG3 was here in Washington, I think his second year under Jay, and RG3 was having trouble call out the plays in the huddle.
Right.
And you can't have that.
No, not at all.
You can't have that at all.
Not in the NFL. And that's comes from him getting babied by Dan and not learning an NFL offense his rookie year.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
What a dude, he's fucking RG3. I hate talking about RG3.
It sucks that he got embarrassed like that, because that is shitty, because everyone knows exactly what happened there.
Right.
There is no sugarcoating that. Yeah. I hope he gets a job.
Yeah.
But it just shows you that teams are looking to pick up Colin Kaepernick before RG3. And
yeah, despite what people say are off the field stuff. So.
Right. I was talking to my coworker today who's a Cowboys fan, and he was like, yeah, Rookie of the Year, Dak Prescott, look at his interview. And I was like, yeah, so is RG3.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up, man? He was like, oh, man, don't say that.
That's true, though.
It was crazy that year. I was like thinking to myself, like, man, what if this is a one-hit wonder? You know, this would be our thing. We have one-hit wonder and gone. And
so was I, but I was also so blinded. I was like, dude, we finally got one.
I know. I finally have a QB. Never have a QB.
And
now we have one. And he's a one-hit wonder.
Now we have one. We're just looking to fucking let him go.
And we don't want to sign him.
Yeah.
We just don't like quarterbacks here in Washington. What can I tell you?
So that'll be fun. But, yeah, man, this training camp, this is going to be a big training camp for a lot of different players.
Yes.
This is going to be huge.
The offensive line is really big this year, seeing Spencer Long in the second year being as the center. I want to see a lot of improvement there.
Work. Yeah. He should be fine. I think, obviously, Preston Smith has a huge training camp out of him because this is year 3. He didn't do well last year. He didn't do too well. There's Junior Gillette, who's making a comeback. Bashad Breeland, this is a contract year. Josh Doxson, he has to prove after his rookie year was lost. Rob Kelly, possibly, because people are already talking about replacing him despite how he played last year.
Yeah.
And granted, he didn't do too well down the stretch. The first 3 games, he was fantastic, and then after that, he kind of fell off and came back down to earth a little bit, but that's to be expected with the rookie.
His best game was against the Packers. Everyone's best game last year was against the Packers when they had nobody there
they had
on defense.
Nobody in their secondary
nobody whatsoever. But, I mean, that was a great – besides that, once he got the ball in his hands on a consistent basis for the back end of the season, he was doing well. His vision was really good. I mean, there was a lot of times during the Redskins games last season that a lot of people can agree with me. He was getting hit in the backfield, but he was still getting positive yards or even yards.
Right.
And that means a lot.
Exactly.
And that's one of the reasons why they let go of Alfred, because Alfred couldn't get away from people in the backfield.
He just couldn't do it. Yeah. Right.
If he had the yardage, he could get it. But if he had to battle it through, he wasn't going to.
Yeah. It's crazy, too. Speaking of that rookie year, that 2012, like with RG3 and then bringing up Alfred, according to Pro Football Focus, that rookie year, 2012, I think Alfred Morris was like the second highest rated running back in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus.
He was.
Behind Adrian Peterson.
1,400 yards he had, I think.
Yeah, he was the second leading rusher in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was 15 or something, maybe 16, because that was the year.
I think it was
that was the year AP went over 2,000, and so everybody was like Adrian Peterson, obviously, but Alfred Morris did so good that year, and now he's basically playing third on the Cowboys because McFadden's more of an every down back.
Right. So I'm really excited to see how Samaje Perine does with the second, third units. If you start seeing tweets and articles about how P. Ryan is doing well behind the second, third units, that's telling you something. If you see them saying that, I want to see him breaking tackles, arm tackles, everything. I want to see his strength. If he shows that strength and the willingness to sacrifice his body and to get forward and not get tackled backwards. Right. That's a really good sign.
We're really not going to be able to see what he's made of until the preseason games because, I mean, he's such a bigger guy. He's not going to I mean, you can't really hit that much anymore in the NFL, especially during training camp.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a bunch of arm tackles that he's breaking through. Cool. But then as soon as those preseason games come, that's when we're really going to see what he's made of.
Right.
First game of the preseason, August 10th, the day I come back for the beach. We're going to be doing a podcast that day, too.
Yes, we are.
Thursday.
I would love to do the preview for the Redskins game that day.
That's what we're going to do.
Absolutely.
That's what we're gonna
I'm
do.
really excited to see how Jeremy Sprinkle does.
So am I.
I feel like he fits this system really well.
He's a talented player, man.
This is a guy who could just
He can
go
do it
along.
all.
He could go along. Like, this is one of those drafts where it could go like you had a lot of great picks and there's that one guy that stays here for a long time that nobody talked about because of how good of a draft it was.
It's kind of like Kedrick Golston.
Right.
Remember Kedrick Golston?
Yeah.
Nobody talked about him, but he was there. He was on our team for fucking ever.
Yeah, and that's why I think Jeremy Sprinkle could be. I think he could be definitely a backup once Vernon leaves.
And especially with Niles Paul's injury history over the last couple of years. I mean, Carrier's had injury problems too, and I mean, so he's probably going to end up being gone.
Right.
So I mean, that could leave the door open for us to keep 4 tight ends, especially if they all stay healthy. And Niles Paul does kind of play that H-back role like he has been. I think Sprinkle could definitely really make the team, and he could come in because last year because Jordan Reed and Vernon Davis, they're not they're not blockers. They're not run blockers, they're not pass blockers too well. I mean, they're typically just receiving tight ends.
Vernon is he's
very underrated.
He's underrated as a blocker.
But we use Ty Nsekhe as our third tight end on running downs and whatever when we use 3 tight end sets. We use Ty Nsekhe. Now having a real tight end in there, that could be good.
Yeah.
And I do like Nsekhe. Nsekhe did great, but there was no threat. You knew we were running. You knew, I mean, with Nsekhe, there was no way around it. He's not a tight end.
That's why Vernon Davis is so crucial there in the red zone because that's a guy who could line up and then be able to get past the guys and get in the end zone and get a couple touchdowns.
It was nice to see Vernon Davis kind of get over the hit from Cam Chancellor too last year.
Yeah.
You kind of saw it because in the preseason, I remember he was alligator arming some balls and shit, and he was nervous, and you could tell it was all mental. After that hit from Cam Chancellor, I think he was with the Niners then, or maybe he was with the Broncos then, but he kind of just lost a few steps. Like he was scared, and then after that, he kind of just built up confidence, and then he played very well last year.
Yeah, he came in. He came in for Jordan and did really well. And Jay Gruden, from the first time when he got hired here, they said from the start he loves the 2 tight end sets just like Belichick does. And he's always wanted 2 tight ends here. And he got his perfect guy, Vernon Davis, for it. People laughed at it like, oh, why are you getting Vernon Davis? He was just on the Broncos. He didn't do anything for him. He came in last year and had a great year.
And plus, what a person for Jordan Reed to look up to,
right?
Because they're similar in the past that they're in the fact that they're
Vernon has seen the bad.
Sizes.
Vernon has seen the bad. He was that knucklehead, the guy getting thrown off the field.
He got kicked off the sidelines by Mike Singletary.
For him
and he was crying.
For him to sit there and say, "Hey, Jordan, don't get too big of a head. You know, you can be one of the best in the league. You just got to keep your head down, have tunnel vision. Don't worry about what the people are saying.
Just do your fucking job.
Working. Just keep working, and you'll be okay. And take care of your body."
That showed, like, Redskins fans, we've always known about Jordan Reed since his rookie year. Like, we always have. And a lot of fantasy people and stuff knew about Jordan Reed. But really, onto the national scene, last year's when Jordan Reed really broke out. And people were like, okay, hell yeah. I mean, this guy's a beast.
Well, like, everyone knew how good he could be after his first 2 seasons.
A lot of it was just him staying healthy.
That was it. It was him being healthy. It was just like Chris Thompson. Right. If they can be healthy, they can be valuable to the team, but they have to stay healthy. And last year, he was healthy for the most part.
For a majority,
And that was good.
He had some big games on the national scene. I mean, that Cowboys game on Thanksgiving, and then the season before, he had the huge playoff game against the Packers, and that kind of set up last season for him to just roll on. And I mean, Jordan Reed, he's such a big piece of this team.
He is.
And he has the potential to
everything runs through him. I know how everyone in the media, all the experts are saying, oh, well, without Deshaun and Pierre, without 2,000-yard receivers, they're not going to be able to do what they want to do. Yes, Deshaun spaced the field. He took defenders away. I get it. But the offense still runs through Jordan. Teams without Deshaun are going to key in on Jordan.
Right.
So regardless, it's not like everyone's just going to like, oh, yeah, Deshaun's not there, so now we can focus everything on Terrell Pryor and Josh Auction and Jamison Crowder. No, they have to worry about Jordan first. That is the one issue you have to fix, so it still opens up everything for everyone else.
That's the guy that you can't get. That's the guy that you don't have a matchup for.
You cannot put anyone on him.
Put anybody on him.
You cannot
put a corner on him. He's not strong enough. And put a linebacker on him. He's not fast enough.
I think that Jay and the front office and the coaching staff were okay with Deshaun leaving, especially for the price number that he signed for.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Knowing that Jamison Crowder can actually come in there and be our own little Tyreek Hill.
Right.
And be that guy that still gets deep because he can still get the deep ball. It's not like Deshaun's gone, now we don't have a deep ball anymore.
He doesn't have the game-breaking speed, but he's still get that guy on a screen or something, he turns into a punt returner. He's very
he
good
can
punt
still
returner.
run.
He can
past
still get
people.
open deep. Oh, exactly. Yeah. He's not putting up 4.2 times or 4.3, but he's shifty. He's quick, and a lot of people run fast without pads on in their 40 time.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Jackson, obviously, he's fast, but then just Jamison Crowder is going to be so big for us for such a long time.
He is. I cannot wait for his future. I hope he has a baller year this year. I'm really hoping it for him.
Right.
And he can make some serious money. Yeah, and I really want to see Kirk come out and actually lead this team. Everyone's talking about how Kirk doesn't want to be here. He's not signing he doesn't want a long-term deal and everything. I want to see him come out this year and actually command the team. I know he said that he wanted the long-term deal to give him that leadership, but Jay came out and said, I don't care what Kirk thinks that he needs that contract to be a leader. Leaders lead, regardless of the situation. Right. And I want to see Kirk do that, especially this training camp early.
Kirk's going to do that. Kirk's not going to let the whole contract thing get in his head. He's still getting paid. He's literally just a football player. He's never been like that. He's just a guy who wants to play football, who wants to have fun, he wants to win. And especially now that he's going to become a father, I think that he's just ready to keep going.
I don't want him to be like a rah-rah guy. I don't want to see him be like... We don't need
that from Kirk.
I don't need him to be Phillip Rivers or these other guys commanding, like Peyton Manning, controlling the entire field, telling everyone what to do. But just hold the players to expectations that you hold them to.
Right.
And then actually show passion for the season and say, look, this is what's going to happen. I've been here for 2 seasons now as a starter. This is what's going to happen to us in the regular season. You have to be ready for it. You have to play at this level. That's what I expect from you, and I know what you can do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just don't want to see him sit back and just be quiet and be the same old Kirk where he's like, well, I'm going to worry about me and my work. Let's make this a team thing, Just hold everyone accountable. And that's what I want from Kirk. That's it. Yeah. He's not that type of guy, but I would really like to see that from him, just to give me that sigh of relief, just to say, okay, he does care about the play here in Washington. He's not looking forward to leaving next year. Right, he's not checked out mentally.
He's not one of those guys.
I know he's not.
Huge. Yeah.
But there's always that
what if.
That chance.
There's always, and especially, that's a huge thing. Not having guaranteed contract, but he knows he'll get his money. He'll be fine. I didn't know. I guess I didn't look it up, and it's not that big important news, but we cut Houston Bates.
Yeah.
Yeah, he failed his physical. We waived him. That's when we signed that tight end.
Yeah, he's coming off an ACL. He failed his physical. Right. It's too bad because Houston Bates was 2 years ago. He was a guy.
He was a good story. He made the team, came out of nowhere.
I remember a preseason game.
He tore it up.
Yeah, he came out really well. And a lot of the guys like him. He's a guy that was definitely a charity guy.
Right.
Was doing a whole bunch of work off the field for the community. It sucks really bad for him. I hope he gets another job. I'll root for him.
I think he will. He's a very good. He's a hard worker. I like the guy, so that sucks that he's gone. But it's not like he made an impact on our team or anything.
I know, but it just sucks that a guy tears his ACL and then can't come back and actually pass his physical. That just shows how bad you are. I saw an article today that was written about Kaishan Jarrett, who's still working to get back.
How sad is that, man?
2 years ago, man. 2 years ago, almost 3 years coming up in December.
Yeah. And he was so good for us that rookie year too. Like he was coming up. We were all excited about him in that injury.
And then Darren McFadden ruined it.
Right. That was
Darren McFadden.
I know. Fuck you, Darren McFadden. That was so sad to see, man. He was somebody you pulled for. He was undersized, especially you. He was a Virginia Tech guy.
Yeah, I loved the pick. It just showed me that Scott McCloughan understood what a lunch pail defense is, just a straight up football player, and that's exactly what Kaishan Jarrett was. It didn't matter. They said it multiple times. You could put him anywhere on the field.
Oh, he could play.
He knew his assignment. He knew where to play.
Safety.
Smart guy.
Yeah. He was very good on special teams. So that's sad to see, man. I hope that everything works out for him and he gets back in shape.
And if DJ Swearinger doesn't work out, don't panic. Redskins Nation.
Right.
Just purely based on the fact that Will Blackman didn't do bad at free safety his first year.
No.
Our defense was just bad.
Right.
I think Will Compton can be a competent person to put in there and actually, he's not going to be a baller. He's not going to be a guy.
Will Blackman.
Did I say Will Compton?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Will Blackman is what I meant. Sorry, guys. And he's a guy who can come in there and just be average, be competent.
Right. And he's a veteran. He's a smart guy. He's had success. Obviously, he's been in the NFL for a long time. So, and last year was his first year playing free safety. And, this year, that'll be huge. And like we said, you can obviously Swearinger the way that he has played. He has been very good, but he's not a pure free safety, and really his biggest year came with the Cardinals last year when he had great players around him.
Right.
So you can't come in and expect him to be a Pro Bowler right away. I mean, and he's not that fast. He's not. I mean, there's going to be some times probably where he gets burned deep, and it's just going to happen. But the guy can tackle, he can hit, he's a smart player, and he brings a fire to the unit that we've lacked from the secondary.
I think Torian Gray is going to have the equal amount of contribution to the secondary as Bill Callahan did to the offensive line.
I hope so, yes.
I think that is a guy who's going to come in and they've already said, Will Blackman's already come and said, he's already learned more about that safety position and about the defense in a offseason than he did the entire year last year playing in that defense.
Good.
So that is a great thing. That means that guys are learning, they're understanding where they're supposed to be, they understand the coverages, they know what their assignment is on every play. And that is what's crucial, because last year so many times we were just so confused.
Exactly.
Nobody knew where to cover. I mean, there was plays where I remember one play the Cowboys ran the play that we love to run, but it wasn't the same. So the play we love to run is a play action stretch. So we fake the stretch play, we come back around, and Jordan Reed or Niles Paul, somebody would leak into the flat, and we toss it to him for a couple yard gain. Jay Gruden loves that play.
Takes place of the running game a little bit.
The Cowboys did the same thing to us at home last year, but instead, Jason Witten stayed on that left side, didn't move over to the right side. He didn't go with the opposite side of the stretch. He just came out upfield about 5 yards and then ran an out route. And Preston Smith came out into coverage, didn't see him, and then the safety came up. I forget who it was. The safety came up, both of them played the same assignment and let Jason Witten run right by him, and it was like a 50-yard gain the Cowboys had.
And that's so sad too, because in the NFL there's certain plays that aren't designed to score. They aren't designed to get. That was probably designed to get 4 or 5 yards tops.
Right, and that just shows you how confused they were.
Exactly.
They didn't know what to do. They didn't know. Yeah, you could blame it on the player, but I mean, the coaches put the players in position, and the players should know that whatever comes out to that side, whatever comes out to your right shoulder, They have
to be better versed in the defense, and I really hope that that's what Greg Mineski is doing. I hope that he's getting them all prepared. I hope that all the position coaches are doing what they're doing, especially Torian Gray, because he's got a tall task in front of him.
That is a very tall task.
It's a very tall task.
A lot of question marks there at the corner position.
Right, and if you think about it,
Josh.
Right, as we have more players at corner than we have in the past. I mean, but besides Josh, really none of them have proven themselves to be great players.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So
I mean, Breland had that one year, but besides that,
exactly. So there's Breland, Fuller, Moreau when he comes back, and another guy who we keep forgetting about, Quentin Dunbar. That right there, including Josh Norman, that's 5 corners. I think Dunbar could be huge in his 3rd year now as a corner. Maybe not huge, but I mean, he could definitely. He's made some big plays, man. He made some big plays last year. He's a former receiver. He knows receivers' tendencies. He uses his length. He's 6'2".
Yep.
He's athletic. He had that one-handed interception against the Giants. He's someone who I think in this 3rd year, if Torian Gray can really teach him that he could make some noise, and he could be a good player, and he could fill in.
That is a guy who would alongside with Kendall, really improve with Torian Gray.
Right, exactly.
Because Torian Gray was I'm not sure if you guys heard our podcast before, but Torian Gray used to be the cornerbacks coach at Virginia Tech. And if you know Virginia Tech football,
they have been pumping out corners.
And
since
safeties.
Torian Gray's been there.
Yes, just pumping him out. And he comes from Bud Foster, who knows defense.
Right.
They have a great defensive system there. He's going to come in, and he is a guy that gets guys out of high school, that gets guys out of raw, and then grows them and teaches them and makes them better.
They take all the foolers.
And so that's why I think that he would be so crucial to Quentin, because Quentin is still kind of raw in a way.
Very raw.
He's made plays just because he is a baller. That's just his mindset.
He's a natural athlete.
It's not like his mechanics and what is getting him above a head.
Exactly.
If he gets his mechanics down, I mean, that could be a very good starter there.
That could be, especially he's got all the physical tools you want, and like I said, he's a former receiver. He knows receivers' tendencies.
He does.
And he was a very successful receiver at Florida.
He was
at Florida. He was very good, and he was just one of those players where he wasn't going to make the roster at wide receiver because we were stacked. And Jay Gruden was just like, you know what? Let's try switching this guy to corner.
Yeah, we have a bunch of injuries at corner. Might as well move you over. Yeah,
and he played well. I mean,
he's won some games for us.
Exactly. He's the one who caught that pass from Tress Way.
Yeah,
I mean, he can be dangerous. You can use him in a lot of different ways.
So this preseason, I think, is very important for Jay, just because Jay has been out of play calling for about 2 years now.
Right.
And so this is going to be huge for Jay getting back into that system.
If you think about it, I know that Jay Gruden can do it, and he's been a very successful play caller in his career. but juggling both head coaching duties and play calling is hard. He did that his first year, which is when we went 4-12. And I know he was getting adjusted to being a head coach, but that's a lot of responsibility calling plays. So I hope that he can really step up and at least do better than he did that year.
Right. And I think Matt LaFleur being there as the cornerbacks coach, actually, I don't think it is Matt LaFleur anymore. I think Matt LaFleur followed Kyle Shanahan out to 49ers. But having the offensive coordinator being Bill Callahan, I think is going to help a lot.
Exactly.
We've talked about before. I think that Jay is going to predominantly call the pass plays.
Yes.
And then I think Jay is going to say, "Hey, I'm thinking about running a what do you think here?"
Bill Callahan's going to have a lot of input on the running game.
Right. Say, "Hey, what should we do here?" Bill Callahan say, hey, "What?" Like Jay's going to say to him, "Hey, I want to run the ball here. Give me your best outside run play."
Right.
Bill Callahan says, "Bam, here you go. All right, let's run that."
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the way it's going to be. Jay's going to call that passing game.
Yeah. And Bill Callahan, I love Bill Callahan, and he's been successful as a coach, and he's been very good with offenses. A lot of his teams have had very good running games, even when he was an offensive coordinator. And so he is. It's not like these guys haven't been in this position before. They both have. They both are experienced. Jay hasn't had much success juggling both the head coach and play calling, but that's why he has Bill Callahan.
You talked about it last week about saying how Bill Callahan in his third year has his O-line developed so much more. Like you had talked about with the Cowboys, his third year with the Cowboys when they led the league in rushing that year. And this third year being here with the Redskins, now he's the offensive coordinator. That gives it the possibility of really making that happen, of our offensive line making a huge jump, of hopefully being a dominant offensive line in the trenches.
Right. And I think they do have the potential. Obviously, Trent Williams is a stud, best left tackle in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. Right tackle, Morgan Moses, he's going to improve. This is his third year as a starter. Brandon Sheriff, this is his third year as a starter. He's got the natural ability. Made the Pro Bowl last year. Spencer Long now in his second year. This is his first full offseason as a center. And then, of course, the one question is that left guard, Sean Laval, and kind of Spencer Long, but Long played good. I think that he'll improve.
We also have Ari Kwanjo there.
Right, Ari. He's somebody he really needs to, because he's such a physical talent. He's there. It's just, and especially Laval. Laval's been injured so much lately.
Yes.
And like when he plays, you see Laval gets driven into the backfield so much.
Yep.
Well, I really wish that we would have improved that left guard spot, but we didn't. And I mean, we still played very well last year. So I mean, 4 out of 5 offensive line starters. That's not bad.
Well, 2 seasons ago, I was using my buddy's Game Pass, which gives you the coach's view of every game, and I was going through and I was watching them, and I was making notes and seeing that Laval was actually balling out. I mean, he was doing well. He was moving guys off the ball.
Yeah.
I think last year he had injury concerns.
Yes.
And they just didn't want to take him out with a small injury or whatnot because of what we had behind us.
Right. Nobody
knew. I just think that they didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the main reasons, because I know when Sean is healthy, he is a dominant run blocker.
Right. He does. And I do think that a lot of that was probably contributed to injuries when he was getting pushed around and stuff, because he's a mean guy. He plays with a mean streak. He's a big boy. He's strong as hell.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he's healthy and he can just play steady, that's all you need. I mean, so especially your left tackle can make your left guard look so good.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean,
it is true, but I mean, we've seen it that it hasn't been true for years.
Yeah,
it hasn't happened maybe that's how bad our left guards have been.
Right, exactly. So it'll be a big year. It's a big. We talked about this last few weeks. It's a big year for this team. It's a big year for so many players.
For this organization, for the fan base. It's such a huge year.
Josh Doxson's going up against Quentin Dunbar right here.
Is he really? Let me see this play real quick.
Doxson hauls it in.
Doxson in front of Dunbar, hauls it in. I mean, he should be beating Quentin Dunbar, though.
Yeah, it's just good to see Dunbar.
I love Quentin, but I mean, it's training camp.
And he's a fourth cornerback, if that.
I mean, this happened last offseason with Josh Norman, them saying how Deshaun Jackson was burning him. And
Deshaun Jackson burns everybody one-on-one.
Anybody that knows football knows that those one-on-one workouts, those one-on-one drills with a corner and a wide receiver, it always benefits the wide receiver.
100%.
The wide receiver has the upper hand every single
100%.
time.
Especially if it's somebody with the speed and stuff and agility that Deshaun has.
Yeah.
Like in training camp and shit like that, he's not touching him. He's not. He's not. And then during a regular game, you have people like safeties who are going to help you out. Exactly. You have whatever. And
you have a pass rush to be able to manipulate the quarterback.
Right. It's not just
you're not going to have a time
one-on-one in shorts. Yeah. But I remember that everybody always posted about it, like Josh Norman's burnt toast. And Josh Norman actually put up very similar numbers last year to the numbers that he put up his breakout year in Carolina.
Right.
They were almost identical.
Right.
And nobody talks about him because our defense wasn't nearly as good as Carolina's was.
No, not as bad.
Right. Norman is still very good, and I think that you're going to see him again break out and all these people are going to talk about how good he is and shit with our defense. That's best case scenario if our defense does improve.
I need to see his interception numbers up a lot more.
Right. He wouldn't have had that many last year, but he had 2 or 3 against the Bears.
Yeah.
So other than that, it was just like, all right.
He talked about earlier this offseason that the defense under Greg Minuski is going to have him playing more in his natural role, being in sitting back more, not being so press man, not following guys all across the field, but just holding your own on that side.
Right.
And I think that's going to help him out a lot. Just let his eyes do the work. A lot for corners pay too much attention to what the wide receivers are doing a lot of times, and they get manipulated.
And that's such a mental part of the game too.
Right.
And that's one thing that Josh Norman has usually been very good at. But last year, I mean, you could tell. Oh, granted, mentally he got the better of Odell, but other than that, it was kind of.
Hizer's going to love this. My perfect example of that, of a corner paying too much attention to a wide receiver, is D Hall getting burnt on double moves.
Fred Smoot used to do it all the time.
Double moves are killers to cornerbacks.
Oh yeah,
you just cannot pay attention. Don't worry about what the wide receiver is doing. Look at that quarterback. Look at the backfield, and if you have nobody behind you, obviously be as far back as you can. Do not allow the corner in front of you.
Right.
Do not allow him to run around you. If you have no one behind you, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you keep your eyes in the backfield, good things will come. I can guarantee you.
Definitely. You can't be, and then that's part of the trick of playing quarterback, especially in today's NFL where you can't touch the receivers. It's a different position now. That's why there's not as many lockdown corners as there once was.
And that's where Fabian Moreau is so good. Watching his college tape,
exactly.
He was so natural in using his body as a shield between him and the sideline, and being able to force wide receivers outside to that sideline.
And he's so big, and he's physical, and he's fast, and he hasn't been playing cornerback long.
Right.
He only started in college.
And it's really going to benefit him now in the NFL, because in college he only needed 1 foot in bounds for it to be a completed pass. Now it has to be 2. So him forcing guys
keeping receivers against the sideline.
Him forcing guys to the sideline, it's going to hopefully be a lot of incompletes when they run to the outside, try to do fades and whatnot.
Right.
I'm really excited to see what he can bring.
I'm very pumped to see Fabian Moreau.
I'm just really pumped in general, dude. I can't wait to see some Redskins, man.
Mike Jones said today, Josh Doxson looks really good today. Good footwork and crisp routes create separation.
Good. That was the one aspect of Josh I really wanted to see, was crisper routes, more emphasis on planting your foot and getting to a straight beeline.
Right.
Because in college, a lot of his routes that he was running were curved. They were round routes.
Yeah, he was rounding out his routes.
In the NFL, you can get cut underneath really easy when you do that.
Can't do that in the NFL.
Yeah, you cannot. That was the one aspect of his I really wanted to see.
He was watching his senior year at TCU highlight tape, though. You definitely saw that. But you also, and he got by with it a lot just because of his athleticism. But just dude, his highlight tape is fun to watch. He's so good.
I didn't take much stock in his highlight tape. The only stock I put in it is seeing how high he could jump and how big he was against the other guys, because the Big 12 is famous for not having any defense.
Oh yeah.
And so that I just take that with a grain of salt.
But no, it's just very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like if you want to see a cool highlight tape, he's a guy to watch his senior year.
But his jumping ability, his catches, insane.
He has, a 42 inch vertical jump? Like,
insane.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And
he's a goofy looking dude too.
He is, yeah. His story's so cool too. His story, like going to where was it that he went? Was it Colorado or something?
No. It was a state or 2 away.
Yeah, it was somewhere random where he started out at, because he didn't get many D1 offers.
Right, and then they dropped his scholarship.
And his mom was head at TCU, so he went on there as a walk-on, and then the day he came on, he was just owning at TCU and using his physical gifts.
Good for him.
I love that. Dude, I'm pumped for Josh Doxson.
That's the kind of mindset you want from a player, a guy that with a chip on his shoulder who has never been given any sort of praise, like Kirk Cousins, somebody who has been looked down on his entire career, going back to high school. He was looked down on.
Yeah.
And this is the guy that kind of got like Junior Gillette. You know what I love about Junior Gillette is that I follow him on Twitter, and you see what they like and what they retweet. He is liking everyone's tweet at him that tells him that, oh, you're going to tear something else again, you're going to be injured, you're not going to do anything. He likes all of them, and I love that, because he has such a massive chip on his shoulder.
And he should. I mean, he's lucky, honestly, that he is still on this team right now. After what happened with the Saints when he hit that woman, when there's a video of it, allegedly, we should say. And then after tearing his his Achilles, both Achilles, back-to-back years before shit even got started, like, he's very lucky that he's still on this team. And that was a McLuhan guy. McLuhan pulled for him.
If Scott didn't get fired, if he got fired a month before that, Junior Gillette wouldn't be on the team right now.
No, he wouldn't.
Because Scott signed him. Scott was the last signing of Scott's.
Scott was Scott's guy. Scott
signed him in the offseason like a month before he got fired.
Right, he's the one who told him, well, not before Scott got fired.
Yeah.
No, Scott got fired this past offseason.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, he had to re-sign.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I was like, no, wait a minute. That was 2 years ago. No, yeah, but Junior Galette, like Scott McLuhan, man, he pulled for him. Nobody else wanted to touch him because of that assault. And
that
McLuhan was like, look, this guy's fucking talented. He's a good dude.
That might be the most important signing of this offseason.
Right. Re-signing him?
Imagine if we have, honestly, like, consistent pressure from that outside position on the opposite side of Ryan,
right,
with Jonathan Allen up there in the middle being able to create some sort of disruption.
That's what I'm saying. That could be very fun to watch. That's what we point out.
I think not signing Chris Baker for $500,000 more.
Look, when it happened, I was very upset that we didn't re-sign Chris Baker.
I think Chris Baker would be so good in this defense now.
Really?
I think that he could be in possibly
that
Pro
money
Bowler.
would be so much, especially because he was very good as a pass rusher and he played his job well, but came to the run game, he was almost non-existent at times.
Terrell McClain only signed for $500,000 less.
Is that what it breaks down?
Yes.
Holy shit! Then never mind. Yeah. No,
Chris Baker signed with the Bucs for 4.5, and we signed Terrell McClain for 4.
Damn, I did not know that we signed Terrell McClain for that much.
Exactly, and so that's why they didn't even offer him a contract.
I know, they didn't even attempt to.
If they offered him the $4 million, I think he would have taken it.
Yeah, and plus he's a better player than McClain.
Yeah.
He just is.
I mean,
just an all-around.
Yes, I can understand the run defender. I get all of that. But this is still a guy who is passionate about your organization. He loves the area. He's going to fight for you. Yeah, maybe he does take plays off the run game and everything.
Right.
But if you give him some help, maybe he doesn't have to take off run plays because he was working so hard on every play because there was nothing else there.
Right.
He was busting his ass. I would be much more comfortable with having Chris Baker in this defense right now than I am with Terrell McClain and Stacey McGee.
Yeah, that's completely right. I didn't realize that the contracts were like that. Yeah. I had no idea that he only signed for $500,000
That's why it was such a slap in the face to Chris, because they didn't even offer him a contract. But
they didn't even attempt. Yeah,
I don't know the guy, but I can guarantee that if they would have offered him the same contract that they did
Terrell McClain,
he would have taken it.
Dude, he loved it here.
I know.
We gave him his chances. Yeah. He has such a good relationship with everybody here. Chris Baker still, I still follow him on Instagram and stuff, and he's still, he's still the same guy.
He's in the area all the time.
All the time. He's an interesting guy, dude. He's funny as shit. He's very funny. I'm excited for this fucking week 1 game against the Eagles.
Yes.
So far, because granted, there's a lot that's going to happen between now and then, but the Eagles I think surprisingly, the Eagles are going to be pretty good this year.
Jordan Matthews is on the PUP list, and they're thinking that it's worse than they think.
Right. And also, I know people made a big deal. Obviously, Alshon's great, but they made a big deal about them signing Torrey Smith. Torrey Smith ranked 114 out of 115 qualified wide receivers according to Pro Football Focus this year.
Well,
rated like 41.7. Granted,
he played for San Francisco. Didn't have a quarterback really.
Neither did Terrell Pryor.
That's a good point.
But Terrell Pryor's different, obviously. Yes. He's just a better player. But no, I just thought that was weird that everybody still makes a big deal about Torrey Smith, but he didn't do shit last year.
It's just because Philly boasts up everything that they do.
Yeah,
everything.
They always say they're the dream team. What was it? Doug Peterson last week said that this Eagles team was better than the 98 Packers or some shit.
Yeah.
No, it's a fucking idiot.
I don't know what it is about Philly that they get so confident for no reason.
For nothing. Yeah. For nothing. And they just traded Alan Barber.
Yeah.
Barbre, however the hell you pronounce it.
Remember, they got Nnamdi Asomugha. Oh, we're going to have the best defense ever.
Vince Young said they were the dream team.
Nothing happened there.
That was crazy, too, because Asomugha for like 2-3 years before that with Oakland was so good.
And then last year when Carson Wentz started out, he had the easiest schedule the first 5 games.
And remember what everybody was saying about him? Like, they were like, I've never seen somebody who's a mixture of Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning.
It was Jaws, who played in Philly.
Of course, he's
extremely biased.
Yeah. But I was just like, that's a little bit fucking premature to throw out those two as a combination, because that would be the greatest quarterback of all time.
To say that after he plays the Browns and shit.
Yeah, after he played 2 games.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, calm down. And then what happened? The season went on. He went against harder competition, and you saw him. He wasn't as on that level that he thought.
And look, I think Wentz is going to be a good quarterback.
He's going to be a great quarterback.
But I don't think he's going to be an Aaron Rodgers come out with Peyton Manning. No. Nobody fucking is that good.
No.
That would be incredible, though.
That would be great, but that's not how things work. There's only one Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
I mean, yes.
And there's only one Peyton Manning, too. Both of those guys.
Yes, he can be. This is the new crop of quarterbacks. The young quarterbacks are going to hold us for the next 10 years. This is a very good crop. We don't know. We don't know the possibilities yet.
Right.
But Carson Wentz could be a guy that they can hold their hat on for almost a decade.
For a very long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, that is a great thing to have.
Oh yeah.
You don't need him to be
position in sports.
You don't need him to be Aaron Rodgers. That is the one problem with this league.
You need him to be Carson Wentz.
You need him to be serviceable. You need him to get you into the mix every year. Which is what Kirk Cousins does.
That's another reason why I hate so much of those pro comparisons and stuff. Like, I do it. We all like to do it because it's fun and you like to take different aspects of people's game. But nobody ever turns out to be who they're compared to, because they always if they're good, they always end up doing it their own way and being like their own person. So But so Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning, like imagine somebody with Peyton Manning's mental aspect and Aaron Rodgers' escapability and shit.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, come on, Jaws. Get your shit together.
I can't stand it when Jaws, Sal Paolantonio, all of those guys, all those Philly guys that talk for ESPN.
And then they also always end up putting like Troy Aikman on our games and shit too. And they're so
it's such a slap in the face, dude, because nobody else can sense it, but I can hear Troy Aikman' sarcasm when he's talking about the Redskins when he calls the games.
All the time.
Every time I can hear it.
All the time. And the bias towards their teams, which I get, that happens.
LeVar ended his career. So, of course, he hates the Redskins.
Yeah, dude, that was so funny. I was so pumped with that. LeVar, for a good while, LeVar was like the new breed of linebacker in the NFL. He was fast. He was athletic as hell. He was a beast. I loved LeVar. LeVar's career actually came off of a very similar play that Jonathan Allen's did. Jonathan Allen had the Superman sack, and LeVar had that jump over the offensive line
right onto the quarterback.
Right, yeah, that was crazy when he was at Penn State.
So it's a lot of the same.
Hey, I hope so, man. I'm so pumped for Jonathan Allen.
I'm really excited to see it. This rookie class we talked about could be one that I've talked about. I think it could go in Redskins Hall of Fame. It's one of the best draft classes we've ever seen.
We got some steals, really, from top to bottom. I mean, they're even talking about Hosley. They're even talking about him doing very good right now.
Right.
Apparently, he was doing really good. Granted,
he slid down to the 7th round because of injury concern, and then when Jay got him here, he was like, I don't think there is an injury concern.
And apparently, Monte Nicholson, people were so surprised with how athletic that guy was. As soon as he stepped on the field, everybody was like, holy shit. Like, he might not have the best mind for it, but athletically, this guy still has freak.
Yeah, he still has a ways to go.
Raw. Yeah.
He got manipulated like crazy at safety at Michigan State.
Oh, yeah, he was getting abused.
He's a guy that you put in on special teams, and he's going to make a play for you.
Right.
He is serviceable in special teams, and I think that is a key for us.
Another person I'm very excited to see, Robert Davis, that wide receiver. That's another guy. He could end up making the team, and he's got all the talent in the world, man.
With such a packed wide receiver, such a packed wide receiver group, though.
Right, and I know that's another thing, but this guy might put up that much potential where they're just like, all right, I can't wait to see him during the preseason.
He needs it because I know the fan base would love it.
Yeah,
because that would mean Ryan Grant's on his way out. But even though that's Jay's guy,
I know. Apparently, Brian Quick's been terrible this year, picking up the playbook and everything during OTAs and so far during training camp. Apparently, Brian Quick struggled.
Good.
So I don't
think he's gonna be any good.
Neither do I. Oh no, he would end up being like a 4th or 5th receiver regardless. So
right.
I mean, I don't know.
I really feel like Terrell Pryor was like Jay Gruden going to Bruce and saying, "I need this guy. Go get him." Yeah. And then Bruce Allen being like, "Oh well, here's this other guy I'm gonna go get."
Jay's like, nope.
Yeah. And he's like, "No, he's not good, dude. Get him away from me.
Get the fuck out of here. You don't know what you're talking
about." Trying to mimic
Bruce,
what Jay's doing.
You have no idea what you're talking about. Fucking idiot. I'm excited too, to see Ryan Anderson play. He's going to play all over the field. They're talking about putting him on inside backer. They're talking about keeping him on the outside. What was it? Who was it? I wrote this. I found this in my notes a long time ago. It says, expect Greg Minuski to use Ryan Anderson similar to how he used Eric Walden in Indy. Walden was never the best pass rusher, but he was good enough to be effective. Where he really shined was setting the edge against the run. Anderson could do the same. That's what I never even brought that up. And I was like,
I don't think Ryan Anderson will be a top tier NFL pass rusher, but this is a guy who can, on every given play, can give you a really good effort and be able to. The effort plays are the plays that stop running downs.
Exactly. And right now, I'm just so excited for this team, man. We have depth. We have depth at corner, even though a lot of players have to prove a lot. We have depth at inside linebacker, finally. We've got depth at pass rushers. We've got 3 new starting offensive linemen.
The biggest concern for me is
wide receivers.
I feel like we don't have the depth at running back.
I know.
And that's the one issue I have, because those guys are the ones that are getting the most contact.
Right. We have about 3 players who we could say, okay, like they could do some Samaje Perine, Robert Kelly, and Chris Thompson. None of those guys are anything, unless Perine comes out and just fucking surprises everybody, or Rob Kelly just builds on last year.
We always have Mac Brown as well.
Yeah.
But it's like, if Rob Kelly gets injured, you still have huge question marks about Perine because you don't really know.
Right, he's a rookie.
And then if you say, okay, well, we'll put Chris Thompson there. Well, Chris Thompson has huge injury concerns.
Right, he's just not big enough to handle the load.
And he can't be a bell cow.
You're big enough to handle the load.
Thanks. Thanks, man.
That's a sex joke.
But Mac Brown could, but still, that huge question mark there. So running back, I think, is the thinnest position that we have.
I would agree.
Besides corner.
Right.
Because if we were to, knock on wood, if we were to lose Norman, I mean,
then we're fucked.
But if we still do well, I mean, props to Torian Gray. He should be a defensive coordinator next year if he gets
if he does
well with that.
If our secondary improves like that, he definitely should. So
I'm really worried about because every training camp comes with injuries. We're going to lose.
Oh, I know.
We have to be okay with losing 3 pivotal people. And I'm just really worried about who those. I just give an average of 3 of who those 3 are going to be, and I'm really, really worried about it.
Yeah, me too.
Because if we lose, I mean, offensive line is also extremely, extremely slim.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, outside of Ty and Secchi, who else do we have as a backup?
Exactly. Yeah, it's
and there's always injuries on the offensive line for everybody. We're just about running out of time here.
Oh no!
You got any parting thoughts?
Yeah, I hope training camp ended okay today. I hope
so far, there hasn't been any updates.
Okay, good.
I've been refreshing it every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm freaking out every day about it.
I know.
I hope they do well. I hope everyone stays healthy. I hope everyone's doing their mock drafts for fantasy. I've been doing mine for like a month now, so y'all are behind.
Woo!
I can't wait for fantasy season starting up.
It's starting. This says real quick. Ryan Anderson just knocked over Vincent Painter in a one-on-one rush, but he couldn't beat him wide on their next 2. And Preston Smith looks like he's gotten bigger, but he's still really struggling versus Trent Williams in one-on-one drills. Who doesn't struggle against Trent Williams, though?
That's stupid.
Yeah, that is what it is.
Do you want Trent Williams getting beat by Preston Smith?
Right.
Then you'd be blown as hell. You'd be like, damn, Trent, what the hell?
What are you doing, Trent? What's going on with you?
Trent should be dominating every single pass rusher he goes against.
Everybody. Oh, yeah.
But I remember seeing that practice clip from 2 years ago, Junior Gillette, when Junior Gillette was doing work on Trent.
Yeah, Junior Gillette, man, he's so naturally talented. Like we said, his get-off, they always say, is one of the best in the NFL. So that'll be very interesting to see.
So many question marks with this team. I can't wait. Good luck. I know you're leaving tomorrow for the beach.
Right.
We don't know exactly what's going to happen next week.
Well, I'm either going to call in or we'll FaceTime or some shit.
Okay.
Or Skype on a laptop. Like, we'll figure something out.
Okay.
We'll get it going. We'll be here next week. We'll be tight with it. I already told all my cousins and family that I'm going to need about an hour and a half set up on the side so we can record this.
All right, sweet deal. Well, I hope you have a fun time, my friend.
Hey, thanks, man. Me too. I hope that you have fun while you're missing me.
I'm going to miss you so much, dude.
You're going to cry a lot.
I know.
I cry. I cry every night.
No, I'm expected to blow Josh. It's not going to be. I'm not looking
I know.
forward to it.
Oh, yeah. No, just don't use your teeth.
Try not to. I'm not as good as you. I'm a rookie.
Nobody is. Oh, yeah. I'm great. You saw that BBC on my computer. All right, man. Practice. Kyle, how about a Redskins football?
Redskins football. Woo!